So this is not going to be a new computation skill for you, maybe just a different way of viewing how we use this skill. So your standards addresses the sharing of whole numbers and fractions by representing equal parts. This can be represented by dividing two whole numbers that leave you with a remainder, but we know that when we're working with fractions or trying to find a part to a whole, that we don't use a remainder. Instead, the remainder becomes the numerator, or how many parts to the whole that we have. So what that all means is today we're going to be interpreting fractions as division by the numerator by the denominator. So here's an example that we have, and this will be on your SchoolNet quiz, or your practice quiz that you'll have coming up. I think we may move that to next week. But this is showing 5 divided by 3. So just like when we converted, some of you are already saying that's improper and I know exactly what to do with that, and you do. So this is saying 5 divided by 3. The fraction is, we say that as 5/3. So we divide as normal. That we can make one group of 3 with 2 left over. That leftover, what remains, becomes your numerator, and your denominator, how many parts would make a whole, stays the same. So we know that 5/3, or 5 divided by 3, is equivalent to 1 and 2/3. So we might see this if we have 5 of something, and we're going to break that into groups, or divide equally, share equally among 3 of something. So let's say this is 5 bags of candy being shared between 3 students, or 3 people. So that means if there was 5 bags of candy and only 3 people, each person would get 1 and 2/3 of a bag. Okay, so over here, we're going to just practice that. And this shouldn't take a whole lot of practicing the computation part. Instead, we're going to have to practice setting up a division problem from when we take it out of the context of the problem. So this says 7 divided by 3. And we would write that as 7 divided by 3. I know that I can make 2 groups of 3 with 7. 2 groups of 3 has the value of 6. And when I subtract or find the difference, 1 is left over. So that is 1 out of, let me go back here to find out how many pieces would make a whole. So 1 out of 3. So if we were using our candy example, if we had 7 bags of candy shared among 3 people, then each person would get 2 and 1/3 bags. Okay, let's take a look at the next few problems. Okay, doing these exactly the same. Like I said, you're used to doing these when you are converting improper fractions to mixed numbers, when we're adding, subtracting, and multiplying. Now the skill has a brand new purpose here. It just looks a little bit different. So this says 6 divided by 5. I can make one group with 1 left over, so 1 part. So that means we have 1 part out of 5 that would make a whole. So if we had 6/5, then we'd have 1 and 1/5. So again, if we were looking at that bag example, 6 bags divided among 5 people would be 1 and 1/5. Sorry, I'm going to have to pause this video. Okay, and I'm back. So in Jamboard, we will practice these next 2 together. And let's take a look at the last problem. This is a word problem. So this is how you will see that skill as division. We have a word problem. There are 7 packages of crackers on the counter. If Nina divides them equally, these are some keywords that we were talking about yesterday, divides equally, shares. These all indicate division. Between herself and 3 friends, how many packages does each person get? So herself and 3 friends are going to all be those number words. Herself counts as 1. 3 friends count as 3 more. So altogether, we are splitting these crackers between 4 people, not 3 people. All right, so this is where it gets a little tricky. Everybody looks at this and they're not really sure how to set up a division problem. Now we need to remember how many we have or what is being divided. What is being divided is going to go on top. How many we're dividing it or sharing it among would go on the bottom. So we would see this usually just like this, 7 divided by 4, meaning 7 packs of crackers divided among 4 people. As a fraction, we'd see it as 7 divided by 4. These show the exact same thing, just visually they look different. So 7 divided by 4 or 7 divided by 4, we can solve the way we know how to make groups. We know that we can make one group without going over with 3 pieces left over. This would not just be a remainder 3. Instead, our remainder becomes our numerator. So how many we have left over, and our denominator is going to stay the same because that shows the parts that would make up a whole. So each person, if we shared these equally, each person would get 1 and 3/4. How could we check that? Well, we could go to our model, and we know that each pack of crackers would be represented as, if this was a fraction model, this would be person 1 would get 1/4, person 2 would get 1/4, person 3 would get 1/4 of this package, and person 4 would get 1/4. So if we did this to every single model, thank you for being patient while I draw this sloppily. Okay, so if I continue to do this, person 1 would get 1/4 out of each pack. Looks like I am 1 model short also. Let me make one more model to make sure that we have 7 packs of crackers. This only shows 6 right now. And my last pack here. Okay, so if I counted this all up, I would have, first of all, my fraction out of the denominator would be 4 parts because they're sharing it equally by 4. So package 1 got broken into 4 parts. And person 1 would get, not turn that color yet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7/4. That's like saying 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. And yesterday I heard a lot of talk about how this was multiplication. Couldn't we just multiply? And the answer was yes. We're not going to confuse the two, but we know that they are inverse. We talk about that all the time. Inverse undoes the multiplication. So they are kind of, we don't like to say opposite, but kind of opposite. We cannot usually apply one to the other. So I hope this was helpful. We will continue to practice more, but please get your assignment in Wiser done today and get prepared for your school net that's coming up. Have a great day.